Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Khalid. For today is Friday the 19th of July 2024 and these are the stories that we will be highlighting during the course of the show. We'll begin with Pakistan that is seeking robust action from Afghanistan over the Bannu attack and of course all the other attacks that have also been happening before the Bannu attack. There was a media brief that was given by our Foreign Office spokesperson. On top of that, there are other developments that have also occurred, whether it be the arrest of a senior Al-Qaeda leader from Pakistan or a video call that has also surfaced of the TTP leader Masud. This and more is going to be discussed in our first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the US elections as well as the Biden nomination. Whether the Biden nomination will go on till the end, a lot of question marks remain, a lot of pressure is going on Biden, despite the fact that Biden to date does not want to step down as a presidential nominee. This said, Trump had a very, very important 90-minute plus address that was at the Republican convention, and he talked about a lot of things, started on a very smooth, solemn note, but of course ended the way he always does. But his popularity is of course increasing with every passing day, and a lot of analysts predict that he might be in a winning position in the next coming elections. Next, we'll be talking about a new trend that has caught on. I mean, we were talking about Trump-style ear bandages have caught on. We all know about the incident that happened of the shooting that tried to target Donald Trump, but the shooter missed by milliseconds, let's put it that way, because Donald Trump was moving quite a lot, but it hit his ear. And of course, he put on a bandage on his ear. A lot of people followed that at the Republican convention, and they say this is a trend that they want to follow. Finally, a massive tech outage that has affected transport, communications worldwide, also airlines worldwide in many important countries, and the communication networks as well. But Microsoft says that the underlying cause of the outage of its 365 apps and services has now been fixed, but the residual impact of cybersecurity outages are continuing to affect some of the customers. This is going to be our last story. Let's begin with our first, and that concerns Pakistan, Afghanistan, TTP, militancy, extremism and terrorism in Pakistan. We've been joined by Brigadier Masud Ahmed Khan. He's a senior analyst. He's right here with me in the studios. Brigadier Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Pakistan has urged Afghanistan many a times to do the needful regarding terrorism emanating from its soil. A few days back, there was a Foreign Office statement. Today, Mumtaz Zahra Baloch, the Foreign Office spokesperson, also addressed the media and highlighted exactly the same thing. Whether it be the Bannu attack, whether it be the attack in DI Khan, whether it be the previous attacks since 2022, we have seen an increase in attack. Most of the attacks have been claimed by the TTP or TTP affiliated groups. When Pakistan asks for immediate, robust and effective action by the interim Afghan government, will there be any reaction this time, or will it be the same as the last times?
Thank you very much. I don't think so there will be any action from Afghan regime, and basically they are not sincere with our demands that we are doing it for the last 3 years now, after when Afghan Taliban took over Afghanistan on 15 August 2021. So as we discussed in the past also, we have exhausted all our options, but still we would like to give diplomacy a chance to engage Afghan Taliban to crack down on this terrorist outfit operating from Afghanistan. Our United Nations Analytical Support Team has now confirmed the largest terror outfit is TTP, which is basically threatening Pakistan, beside other threatening the international peace. So I don't think so that are going, but subsequently Pakistan is also weighing the different options, what to beside giving diplomacy a chance and involving the regional countries, mainly China, even United States, and subsequently if they still stand with the terror outfits operating from Afghanistan.
But they have been standing with them since 2022.
Certainly, then Pakistan reserves the right to respond to, as we know, where they live, where they plan, and where they move. As recently, and they have basically, I was reading a report that the TTP, they have constructed a guest house in Kabul, 3 guest houses for the TTP, and they are also providing them the escorts protocol of their free movement. as the attack against Bannu cantonment was basically planned from inside Afghanistan by Hafiz Gul Bahadur group. So they were basically aware of it. Despite the fact when it was claimed by that group that we have carried out this attack, and that too Hafiz Gul Bahadur is in Afghanistan, cause no action was taken by the Afghan regime. So that is the indication that they are not sincere, because they consider the TTP, the terror outfit, as a part of Afghan Taliban.
All right. So, just related to that, I'll revert to something what the Foreign Office spokesperson said today. She said that, she talked about expectations from the Afghan interim government to disarm the TTP and the Gul Bahadur group and hand over their leadership, including those involved in terrorist incidents, to Pakistan. She also says that we have maintained continuous communication with the Afghan authorities, and we have shared intelligence with them as well, as far as the Bannu attacks and the previous attacks are also concerned. She also said that the Afghan authorities know the whereabouts and the actions of these individuals. I understand Afghanistan will not comply, but will other countries in the region, you just alluded a little bit to on China or other countries, will they assist Pakistan in counter-terrorism operations against these outfits, now that things are out in the open?
Certainly, certainly. Now, one is the TTP now identified the larger terror outfit in Afghanistan. Now they are threatening Pakistan. If we recall, 2010, 2009, there was a person named Faisal Shehzad who was caught, he was involved in the Times Square bombing. So he came to Pakistan. He is an American national. He came to Pakistan. He was trained by TTP. He was funded by TTP. He was paid $5,000. This has been mentioned in the No Exit from Pakistan, even for other books. So he was trained by the TTP. So TTP is a threat. TTP subsequently they are going to target the American interests anywhere. So we can link it with that case of Faisal Shehzad. Second is the Islamic State of Khorasan, as we have been discussing. It is a threat to Islam, the regional countries, and we have seen in Moscow what happened subsequently in Iran and Turkey and other countries. And there are terror outfits like they are threatening Central Asia. And so therefore there is a threat, so the concern is there. But major threat when we talk of Pakistan as a country, because out of 23 terror outfits operating from Afghanistan, 17 focus is Pakistan. So I would like to talk a bit about little bit about Hafiz Gul Bahadur group, which is operating from Afghanistan. Look, Hafiz Gul Bahadur, he belongs to North Waziristan. He is from Datta Khel is a place, and he is a wazir, and he initially probably he was associated with the JUI politically, and subsequently he joined TTP, and later he met his own group, Hafiz Gul Bahadur group. He was the one who basically formed a shura of Mujahideen Waziristan. He prevented Masud and TTP from gaining a foothold inside North Waziristan. So he hosted, when after 9/11, the Haqqani network and the Al Qaeda, they came to North Waziristan. So he was the host. He was the one who basically organized the inaugural suicidal missions for Haqqani network. So he is closely associated with Haqqani network, President Sirajuddin Haqqani, the Home Minister of Afghanistan, and he is close link with Al Qaeda. So that is one thing. In Pakistan, he has influence in the areas of North Waziristan, being majority Wazir area, and in Bannu area, Jani Khel, Baka Khel areas, where he has sympathizers and facilitators, they are present in that area. And so that is the reason, that's why he has been facilitated inside Afghanistan, because when Zarb-e-Azab was launched in 2014, several hundred of his terrorists, they were killed by these Pakistan security forces. He, along with others, he fled to Afghanistan, and then He at present is living in Khos and Paktia, and also he has presence in Nangarhar and Paktika also. So he has the facilitation of Afghan government, especially the Haqqani network. So therefore, he planned this the attacks. Previously, he was involved in the attack in North Waziristan when the FC fort was attacked. Similar pattern of tactics was applied in case of Bannu. So where the two officers, they were martyred, Lieutenant Colonel Kashif and Captain Badr, Ahmed Badr. So this group was also involved there. And after the takeover of Afghanistan by Afghan Taliban, he has reorganized, has regrouped his organization. There are 6 factions now under the umbrella of Hafiz Gul Bahadur group, and all of them, they are operating from Afghanistan. And Jaish-e-Fursan and Muhammad was involved in the attacks in North Waziristan as well as the Bannu attack. So that is how he is basically, with the facilitation of Afghan Taliban, is operating from the heights of Afghanistan.
All right, that's a very interesting thing. I didn't know about that, and it's very interesting that our viewers also get to know what the origins of Hafiz Gul Bahadur and his group are. Now let's talk about the 15th report of the ISIL and Al-Qaeda Taliban monitoring team that you also mentioned a little bit, but that was submitted to the United Nations Security Council, that talks about the Taliban, the TTP, now being the largest terrorist group in Afghanistan, enjoying operational and logistical support from both the Afghan Taliban and factions of the Al-Qaeda terrorist network. Now, I want to understand how other terror networks, especially the Al-Qaeda, have been helping the TTP in their maneuvering, in their operationalization, in the different arms and ammunition that they are getting, and in how in different maneuvers of attack. I would also like to attach this with the CTD's statement on yesterday that came out, in which they said that they have arrested a senior Al-Qaeda leader, Aminul Haq, and call him a close aide of Osama bin Laden. And this is a very important arrest because he was also involved in different nefarious activities. Just joining the dots, if the Al-Qaeda is helping the TTP, then it also means that the Al-Qaeda has a network in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. We know they have in Afghanistan. But how can we dismantle this network of different terrorist outfits that are trying to destabilize Pakistan? Now it has been confirmed through reports.
A very important question. I would like to quote 2 important statements made by 2 American officials. Those are quoted in the book of Obama's War by Bob Woodward. One was made by the President Obama initially in 2009 when he was president. He was basically when he was watching the situation developing in Afghanistan, he said, if the Afghan government falls to Taliban, then he said the Al-Qaeda will return and they will make Afghanistan a base of operation, and they will kill indiscriminately. This was the statement he made in 2009. Second was statement again quoted in that book that was by Director National Intelligence Levo. He said under 2 conditions of the Al-Qaeda can return to Afghanistan. One, that Afghan Taliban controls Afghanistan. Second, he said they control a specific area. He means southern Afghanistan, and then the Al-Qaeda will return. So they have returned. So the assessment was very right. So they have returned, and today basically no, as we say, we have seen the Afghan Taliban, the Al-Qaeda facilitating the TTP in attack on our post in Chitral area, and basically Al-Qaeda was the one which created the TTP in 2007. So they are basically not only funding the Haqqani network, they are also funding the TTP also, the Al-Qaeda. So Al-Qaeda in the last 2 years, they earn $195 million from mining. In 2 years. They are also, the reports say, they are also controlling the drug trafficking routes for Afghan Taliban. So the money is being basically distributed among the various factions. And recently the report which the Americans they have issued, the inspectorate and he says that there are about almost $300 million worth of money is unaccounted for.
And $79 billion that have been given since 2021.
So that is the situation. So now it is the interest. 9/11 was launched for the elimination of Al Qaeda. So they have returned. So now it is in the interest of America as well as the international community. So with the passage of time, they are building up. Now Al Qaeda has established 8 camps in 4 of the provinces of Afghanistan. So they are gaining strength. Islamic State of Khorasan gaining strength. TTP has become largest terror outfit against Pakistan. So the threat is real, and it is not only basically targeting Pakistan, Central Asia, China, Russia, but also the international peace. And subsequently, they are going to attack the targets at international level.
All right, but Brigadier Sahab, what is the end game plan? A, I fail to understand a country like Pakistan that has been helping Afghanistan over the decades. I fail to understand the reaction that the Afghan government has or has been giving Pakistan also in the past as well. Nothing new, but the way the terrorism is emanating is something completely new for Pakistan. But the hate or the negative sentiments vis-a-vis Pakistan have always been there from the Afghan side. I fail to understand that in the context of all the millions of Afghan repatriates, or let's put it this, immigrants that were here for decades, and some of them are now going back, those who are illegally present. I fail to understand it. What is the logic behind that? What is the logic also behind the TTP, the Hafiz Gul Bahadur group, with help from Al Qaeda and other factions destabilizing Pakistan? What does Afghanistan get from it, in material terms or in other terms? Thirdly, I'd also like to understand who are the real backers of the TTP and its affiliates.
First of all, when we talk of gains of the Afghan Taliban, the Afghan regime, basically, as we have been telling in the past, that as a proxy. Second, they are trying to impose their own policies on Pakistan, basically, and they want us to reopen the western borders, which we have fenced, and we are trying to control the movement at the borders. So they are not happy with that.
They have never accepted.
They have never accepted They call it so-called Duran line, but this is the western border between the 2 sovereign states. That is one thing. Secondly, they basically pressing Pakistan to accept and go for some negotiated settlement of with the terrorist organization TTP. That is the major reason that they are pressing us that we can, because there was a engagement in the past.
Yes. But that did not prove to be fruitful, did it?
But unfortunately, that was proved to be a disaster for the country. So now they are up to it. And thirdly, they are trying to protect their economic interests through transit trade. They are getting the benefits from these activities. And they were also not happy when we took the decision to deport illegal Afghan nationals from the country, leaving aside those who were in possession of proper documents issued by the government of Pakistan through UNHCR. So these are the basic reasons. That's why they are basically trying to force or pressurize Pakistan. But at the same time, look, we are trying to help Afghan out. Our Prime Minister, while he was in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, he said that there should be a collective the recognition of Afghan regime. And second, he said those assets frozen, there should be so that is the approach we are having. And even recently, then Doha conference,
there were the meetings between Zabiullah Mujahid as well as the Pakistani
and our
side.
Asif Durrani.
Yes.
And Zabiullah said it was a good understanding, and it was a peace. It was a welcoming understanding between the two sides. But unfortunately, the Afghan regime is, my assessment is, they are not sincere with Pakistan. Maybe another reason could be, as we were discussing, what they are trying to gain from Pakistan. There could be a possibility. There is something, probably they are afraid if they crack down on Afghan, the TTP, they might join the Islamic State. and that they consider it will be a threat for them.
So, just for political gains, they are destabilizing
Yeah,
an entire
exactly.
country and killing scores of people, especially our forces. Now, speaking of forces, I'd like to refer to a video that has recently emerged of TTP leader Masud, a video call that has emerged, which of course forensic will go through to ascertain the level to which whatever has been said is true or not. But there are very serious comments or statements that have been made in that video call vis-a-vis Pakistan, vis-a-vis destabilizing Pakistan. How do you view this? Does it come as a surprise to you?
Yeah, it is, certainly it is. And they have been propagating through their media channels and social media that we are not targeting any civilian in Pakistan. Our target is the security forces. But unfortunately, if you see their history, right from 2007 onwards, when they were created, the way they have been killing and beheading the people across Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and in Balochistan also. Look what they did in APS in 2014, then in the Bacha Khan University, then attacks at the airports, then attack here in Islamic International University, and then attack at the gathering of the lawyers in Quetta. So they have never spared civilians. The aim is to create panic and to basically to have impact of those attacks. And they, look, we have lost 80,000 Pakistanis. Those 70,000 they are civilians. So they are targeting civilians through suicide bombing, IED attacks, fire raids, etc. So they have never spared civilians. Even they are targeting, majority of attacks are in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They are targeting their own people.
True.
And look, we consider the Pashtuns, they have contributed more than any ethnic community in Pakistan. When we talk of war on terror,
of course,
their contribution, their sacrifices is paramount. So therefore, they are not fed up with these tactics of these attacks. And we have seen in the past the protests we saw in Swat, we have seen in Malakand, in North Waziristan, and today
in Bannu.
And today in Bannu, thousands they came out.
They came out.
And for they talked of peace, and they said we are ready to defend our areas, and we will fight along with the security forces. So that is basically the resolve of the people of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So hats off to them, and they are determined to defeat these terror elements.
Let's hope that this happened and these terrorist elements are eliminated once and for all, and that Afghanistan finally understands that Pakistan is a sovereign country and needs to be given the respect that Pakistan has also given to it in the past as well. Thank you very much. We're a bit short of time. Brigadier Masud Ahmed Khan Saab, senior analyst, to have joined us, to have talked to us about this very, very important development that has been happening since the Bannu attack, whether it be the statements by the Foreign Office or whatever is ensuing, including the arrest of this Al-Qaeda leader, as well as the TTP video call that has been intercepted. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. Let's come to our second story, and that concerns US elections. A lot has been happening as far as the US elections are concerned. American politics, a lot of, this a report that I was going through, it was very interesting because a lot of major publications talk about American politics that were more stable for the past half century that they have been for most of the country's history. But they talk about two events yesterday in both Washington and Milwaukee, aiming among both Democrats and Republicans, and they say it shows how unstable US politics has become. Has US politics really become that unstable? To discuss that and more, the different aspects of Democrats and Republicans, what is going to happen as far as US politics is concerned, what are the predictions? We've been joined by Dr. Mark Meirowitz. He's a political analyst, joins us from the United States, and Syed Muhammad Ali. He's a lecturer from the Johns Hopkins University. Dr. Syed Muhammad Ali. Thank you very much to the both of you to have joined us. I will begin with Mark. Mark, very, very interesting, details that are coming in all the major publications, Washington Post, New York Times, and whatnot, and all the different agencies are talking about two things and two things only. A, the Republican convention of Donald Trump, and B, whether Joe Biden will step down or not. I'll begin with Biden. This is a $1 million question. Is he going to eventually step down or not?
I don't go to Las Vegas and take bets, but I think right now it's really unclear. The Democrats are trying to figure out what their game plan is. One of them, actually, interesting, comes from Alan Lichtman, who is, I think, one of your interesting choices for political analysis on these programs. He says that he is very, very angry, aggravated with the Democrats in the way they've abandoned Biden, but he plans a plan B. He says that at this point, Biden should resign, Harris should become president, and the party should endorse her for the candidacy. He believes that at this point in time, Biden will lose the election. And this is what the Democrats are telling Biden. But Biden keeps saying he's going to run. So it's confusing.
It is definitely confusing, Mark, and that is what we want to understand from you as well. Going to Dr. Syed Muhammad Ali. Ali, if Joe Biden does quit the race, will the party quickly support Vice President Kamala Harris as a nominee, or do you feel that the situation will be more typical of historical conventions when the nominee is unclear, with a messy competitive process in which multiple candidates make their cases to the delegates? What's your take?
Well, these are the two options, right? As I think the Wall Street Journal put it, it's either a coronation or a contest. So the coronation situation is where Biden, names Kamala Harris as his successor. He steps down. Everyone throws, the Democratic Party throws their weight behind her. She has over time, started portraying herself as being more progressive because there were issues with her being the Attorney General and, issues around incarceration and race. But nonetheless, in the recent past, her positions have been comparatively more empathetic to the situation in Gaza. So, a lot of people are saying that, and, it just makes sense to hand over the mantle to her because with Michelle Obama, that name is floating around, but she has not expressed any particular desire, to come into the race. And then the other one is a contest. And there are good points to be made. There's a good case there for actually allowing a contest, for actually allowing, various sort of contenders, NEWSROOM and others, everyone coming to the fore and basically having it out and letting then people decide, have those press conferences and have, stuff that Biden himself did not do. Otherwise, we might have seen him fumble earlier, right? And the Democratic Party might have had much more time before the DNC, which is the cutoff. So there are these, these two possibilities are still out there.
All right, Mark. Is there any chance of some kind of polling between amongst the Democrats as far as Joe Biden is concerned? Mark, do you feel that there could be some kind, because there are a lot of inner voices that are speaking, although not that openly, despite the fact that we hear of Senator John Tester, who also has become the 21st congressional Democrat and the second senator to publicly call on Biden to step down. We're hearing of former President Obama also indirectly talking about it, and others. But what is your in your point of view could happen before the actual official designation or nomination of Biden happens? Do you feel there could be some kind of internal polling or some other mechanism that could ascertain whether Biden remains or not?
Look, right now, Trump assassination attempt, Trump won the election. So the Democrats have a real problem. Now, about the Blitz primary that you're talking about, where you actually throw it out, I hate to quote Lichtman again, but Lichtman's view is if you do that, you lose. Cannot win the election with a Blitz primary. I agree with him 100%. There are a lot of names out there. But November is coming around the corner here. You can't introduce a new candidate for president, and then who's going to run for vice president? And you're going to actually put Harris out of the picture. She's a woman, African American. She's been vice president. The Democrats are in a bad way. Biden now is ill. He has COVID. He said if there's a medical condition, he would step down. Trump was almost killed at a rally. I mean, American politics, to put it mildly, unstable, is in a complete maelstrom. So the answer here is there is some sort of answer. Democrats are trying to figure it out. The one point I think that's important, again, to quote Lichtman, he says he's very disappointed in the Democrats because he said that Biden stood up at the NATO conference, NATO summit, and he spoke for over an hour. He's an older man, that's true, but he feels that they've kind of put him under the bus. But the truth is, American politics as of last Saturday is a complete upheaval. It's a complete new story. It's a complete tabula rasa, a complete new page. So how we fill this page up is really totally unclear. We haven't seen something like this in the past. So we've got a big challenge to get the ship righted on the waters.
All right, let's move to Trump, and I'll revert to Ali. Ali, yesterday Donald Trump accepted the nomination, officially the nomination from the Republican Party to be the presidential candidate from their end. 5 days after he is nearly killed by a gunman, 2 months after he's convicted of 34 felony counts in New York, 3.5 years after he attempts to overturn the last presidential election. He gave a resounding speech that lasted for more than 90 minutes, that started on a very solemn note or on a mellow note, but of course then gradually shifted to the typical way that Trump talks about. He has demonstrated how he transformed the party over the last decade into a populist sounding anti-war immigration skeptical movement. He also talks about his attempt on his life. He calls for unity, pledges for to be president for all of America, not half of America. That is great. Then he reverts to divisions and attacking rivals, accuses Democrats of destroying our country, compared immigrants to Hannibal Lecter, praised autocratic leaders and called Nancy Pelosi crazy. He also falsely claimed that Democrats used COVID to cheat in the 2020 election. These are just some of the important highlights. What were, in your point of view, the main highlights of the 90 minutes plus speech of Donald Trump? What impact did it have on the audience and on the American public in large?
Well, he did try to milk it for all he could, first saying how perturbed he was and he wasn't going to talk about it again, and then he went on and on of how the bullet sort of pierced his ear and there was blood everywhere, and he's learned how much profusely one can experience bleeding when it comes to the ear. So he was giving a lesson in biology, and his fan base was enthralled. And, he spent a good 15 minutes talking about this stuff, right? And how he lifted his fist in the air, and he did have that, that presence. That presence also came through when he had turned around, to President Biden during the debate and said, I didn't understand what he said. I don't think he understood what he said. So his one-liners can be great, but his alternative facts, really, he, again and again, the fact checkers tell a very different story, but he keeps reinforcing these narratives, these false narratives, which now, for his audience, have become, they have become facts, that the elections were stolen. He's turned, he still speaks of COVID as the corona, as the China virus, highly racist language. Right, and the spike in crime by the migrants. So the xenophobia, of course, these are all sort of key elements in his toolkit, the toolkit of populist leaders, be it Orban in Hungary, people like himself, and Bolsonaro in Brazil. And, we saw this lack of coherence, this kind of no sort of grace, really. He was very much sort of,
But Ali, all said and done, despite his narratives, he's extremely popular. His every word is lapped by those who follow him and by a lot of the Americans. What is the charisma? Do you feel this charisma is going to work in the 2024 elections?
Well, I mean, charisma does work, right? And it's the spin. I mean, we see fan bases, around politicians within Pakistan as well. And it's how he puts a spin. So I mean, look at President Biden. I mean, the Democrats also since Bill Clinton have moved to the center. Right, and Biden now was coming out and touting himself to be the most pro-union president in history. Right, he had walked out with the United Auto Workers, sort of participated in their strike. Trump came and he said he wants to fire the head of the United Auto Workers, but at the same time he wants to woo the disgruntled labor unions. Right, so he's been kind of leaning in on this idea that basically, he is the champion of the working class, right? And they will be protected by his protectionist schemes, by his anti-immigrant sort of rhetoric and his attempt to, block the illegal aliens coming into the country. So he uses this divisive tactic, right? So not that blue collar workers around the world are being exploited by capital, by corporations. No, but it's like, your blue collar workers are being exploited by the blue collar, the cheap Chinese labor, the cheap Bangladeshi garment worker is stealing your jobs. It's their fault, right? So it's this kind of divisiveness, but he speaks. Now he said he represents the African American community.
Of many Americans, I mean, it might be something that is alarming for us, but for many Americans, it is exactly what they believe in. Mark, when it comes to Donald Trump, his grip on the Republican Party, as many analysts say, it has become much tighter than before. He is much stronger, in a much stronger position than his 2017 to 2021 term to follow through on his agenda if he wins the elections. How strong could a president could Trump be if he wins? B, if he wins the White House and Republicans win majorities in both chambers of the Congress, will he face any obstacle in the pursuit of major policy changes? And C, will he become the populist leader that he is aiming to be, or he has already become?
Well, I'm an American, so let me tell you what I'm thinking about this. First of all, the 92 minutes were riveting. The section that he talked about, the attempted assassination, was gripping. It reached the hearts not only of Republicans, but of Democrats in the entire country. 100 senators had a conference call with the Secret Service. 100 senators. Next point. On all the court cases, the Florida case was dismissed. The 34 felony counts is on appeal. The Supreme Court issued a decision on immunity, whether you like it or not, but that's going to affect all the cases, including Hunter Biden's case. We didn't mention Vance, which I think is an important aspect of your question, because Trump is also laying the groundwork for 2028 to have a certain vision. And I do want to say something important about who is the base of Trump. The Democrats have missed the boat, and that's why they're going to lose this election, because they don't understand who supports Trump. If you looked at the people in the audience, did they look like deplorables to you? This is what Clinton described supporters of Trump as deplorables. They are not deplorables. They are Americans who are faced with higher prices. They are faced with gas prices, but Biden's suggestion electric vehicles and not using energy resources of the United States. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but there's a perception element. I'm sure my distinguished colleague will agree with me. Perception is important in politics. And the perception is that people are having a hard time and that Biden's the cause of it. About populism and all of that, well, that's the Trump-Vance element of this. But if you looked at the Republican Party, it was an extraordinary story, but adding on the assassination attempt to this is a game changer. That aspect of it was never predicted. We couldn't predict it, but now that it's here, it's changed everything. So about American politics going forward, you ask in terms of the houses being under control. In fact, the Democrats are in fear now, since they've lost the election in 24, that they're going to lose both houses. But the truth is, the way our system is set up, it's not always true that if one party controls all the House, the Senate, and the presidency, it doesn't mean they always can get everything done that they want to get done. So there will have to be a lot of negotiation. I think that what you have here right now is a inflection point in American history and American politics. How does it play out? I don't know. But I, again, go back to the fact that the part of the certainly what he was saying about his assassination attempt, it looked very sincere. It seemed that Trump had been very changed by these events, but it is true that he, went back to his talking points, and that is exactly what the Republican Party is all about. Now, the Democrats have to come up with a better solution, but they haven't. They haven't come up with a good solution, and Americans are in despair. What are they supposed to do? And the choice is maybe Biden, maybe not, Trump. So right now I have a lot of question marks.
All right. But of course, we are just a couple of months away from the elections, and in September is the next face-to-face between the two presidential nominees. If Biden does stay by then, or if he does not, whosoever is going to be. But this last question is to the both of you. Starting with Ali. Ali, what are the general predictions, whether it be through the different polls that have emanated since the attempt on Donald Trump, whether it be since the Republican convention, or whether it be since the uncertainty within the Democrats? What are the general predictions? Because there's a non-partisan Cook political report. There are others that are talking about different things. There are different polls that have come out. But what is the general American public? What is this basic sentiment? I'll ask from the both of you, beginning with you, Ali.
Well, it's still up in the air. I mean, there's a growing number of Democrats who, think that President Biden needs to, hand over the mantle to someone else. I mean, the fundamentals still remain strong for the Democrats. I mean, the GDP is growing, unemployment is low, the inflation, the government's still trying to control the inflation. There isn't like a major war after the Afghan withdrawal. So, all that stuff is there, but, it's President Biden's now really ability. And I think that, yes, I think the Democrats really, like the DNC, did not do itself any favors when it sidelined Bernie Sanders. Because, I mean, it was after Jimmy Carter.
Short, Ali. I'll have to cut you short, Ali. Mark, last comment, short answer. The same question.
Bernie Sanders is a road to nowhere. Bernie Sanders would ruin this country. I think we're going to have an election in a short amount of time. And by the way, who put Bernie Sanders under the bus? Hillary Clinton. So just again, Democrat internecine warfare. He's a great man. He's a great guy. But as president, I would be fearful. End of the day, it's all up in the air right now. The polls are unclear, uncertain. The decision is in the hands of the Dems. Democrats got to decide what they're going to do. And they better decide fast because they've already lost the election.
Thank you very much to both of my guests, Dr. Syed Muhammad Ali, lecturer, Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Mark Meirowitz, political analyst, joining us from the US. Thank you very much to the both of you for your opinions as far as the US presidential race and elections and the politics in the country is concerned. Thank you, guys. Let's come to last two stories very, very quickly. The first is, of course, concerning Donald Trump and how a fashion trend has emerged in the new Republican convention that of a fake ear bandages donned by attendees as a symbolic gesture of support for Donald Trump. And many fans had it, many important people also had them. Just shows the importance or the impact that Donald Trump has on his fan base. Finally, a massive tech outage affected transport communications worldwide, also airlines, other communications networks, and all due to a small glitch in a Microsoft-related software. Microsoft has said today that the underlying cause of its 365 apps and services has been fixed, but the residual impact of cybersecurity outages continue to affect some customers, but the customers are large and varied in different countries across Europe and also in the UAE. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah on Monday with news stories and segments that pertain to you, us and Pakistan. It's the weekend. Have a wonderful one. Allah Hafiz.